Hey guys, author Christopher D. Schmitz here. Just thought I'd make a short video about some of the new Dragon Dice books that are coming out. I'm the owner and the primary author over at Tree Shaker Books. We got a few others that we're working with, but probably our biggest thing that we're currently have in development are the Dragon Dice books. If you're unfamiliar, if you're just cruising across YouTube and find this video, Dragon Dice was this army building game where you take a bunch of dice. They're different races or species, if you will, like goblins and elves and dwarves, and you create your armies, and then you can have battles against each other, trying to take over land. It's a strategy army game. It is also a collectible game, so the packs that you get have dice that are randomized in them according to their colors. So it's a ton of fun. If you haven't before, stop and maybe look for them at your local game and hobby store. Maybe request that they get some in. There's a lot of great videos and tutorials on how to play, and great demo videos on YouTube. And also, if you ever swing by Gen Con, they've got a great presence there. They've been around since the mid 90s, and you may remember in the mid 90s you may have seen a little book like this. And this is the original Cast of Fate novel. I actually included a die on the inside of the book. We'll talk a little bit about that. I don't want the video to be overly long, but I want to tell you guys a little bit about what we have coming out at Tree Shaker Books. You may have already gotten a copy of Rise and Fall of the Obsidian Grotto. This kind of kicks off the world. I was talking to somebody last night saying that the next book in it, The Ashes of Illusory, is kind of he compared it to The Hobbit or Lord of the Rings and said this is kind of like the Silmarillion. There's a lot of other stories in the background of it, and I said it's like Diet Silmarillion. It's not nearly as expansive as Tolkien, but it has some of the background history and tales of some of the things that happened much earlier on than what we're writing in this modern era. In Ashes of Illusory, and the stories moving forward. This is in the Second Age. This book and also Cast of Fate were in the First Age, so there's some stories that happen much earlier in the history. So anyway, the thing that I really wanted to talk about was the re-release of Cast of Fate coming up. So you've seen these couple of books. They're both recently out. By the way, you can get this one absolutely for free. There'll be a link in the comments if you're watching this on YouTube. I'll try and make sure there's one in Facebook. If you haven't gotten it yet, you can get a digital copy of this absolutely free just for signing up on the mailing list. But I much prefer, I know, to have a nice paperback that you can read and take with you. Not that ebooks aren't portable, but I do prefer the good smell of a book. One of the other reasons to buy paperback, they look nice on your shelf, and if you buy the paperback of all the books except for Rise and Fall, you can get a free game-usable promo die. So for Ashes of Illusory, you can get the brand new, just released Dracula champion. The Draculum's a new race that's coming out. There's more coming out, a whole race. There's a couple of promos. There's the bronze one here. The fancy silver guy. This one's going to be coming out with a future book. And then the gold, right? Everybody loves gold. We got the gold Dracula champion here too. So you'll want to make sure you're getting the books. Now, you can't get those if you're buying from Amazon, though. You have to buy them on either the SFR website. SFR makes the games. SFR owns the intellectual property rights that are Dragon Dice. So you can either buy them on SFR's website or on the Tree Shaker Books website, which you can Google that to find it. It's easy if you find my author page, www.authorchristopherDschmitz.com. You can just click to buy books, and all of the books that I have from the various publishers I'm published with, you'll be able to find there. But anyway, I wanted to throw back to Cast of Fate. So you may all remember buying this book while it was. I remember reading this as a teenager, and I've got kind of a love letter to this book and to the Dragon Dice scene in the beginning of, I think probably in the beginning of all of these books in matter of a foreword. But I remember this book fondly, even though has some critical issues that have been pointed out in reviews in the past. It also helped contribute to the overall demise of TSR for a variety of reasons. One of them being it was really easy for people to buy the book, pull out the promo die that was inserted in there, keep the promo die, return the book, so all the returns get bought. Basically, people were stealing the dice, and so not only did TSR not make money on the book, they had to pay to print the book, to sell the book, and then had it returned. So they essentially had to buy it twice, as well as losing all the money off of the included promo die. So there were many other problems, but that was certainly one of them. But if you loved this book and you wanted more of the fiction in the Dragon Dice universe, you may have also picked up some of the other products that would include this book. And they kept the same cover art in all the books, so it was kind of weird. But the Tome of Tarvanel and this book, Heart of Stone and Flame, these are more like glorified short stories. The books are, I think in total, they're like 60, 70, 80 pages for all of them combined. So with the re-release of Cast of Fate, we included Heart of Stone and Flame and the Tome of Tarvanel in with this book, including another short story. Some of you guys have perhaps have a copy of Chillwind by Joe Joyner. Joe was a big fan. He was, I believe he owned stock in SFR and everything when they came out. Joe wrote some fiction in the blogs and the forums. It was essentially fan fiction at one point and was kind of merged into official canon. Certainly is being merged into the official canon when we re-release this book as well, Chillwind. So he also wrote, though, Joe, and Joe is passed away. If you don't know, Joe died several years ago, and maybe never saw quite the response that some people have said. Like, essentially, people have said Chillwind is the good Dragon Dice book out of all the 90s stuff moving into the early era, certainly including the Army of the Dead book, which I'll talk about Army of the Dead in a little bit. But it was pretty true. Chillwind was the good book. But Joe also wrote some pieces in the version 3.0 rule book. That was the big, thick rule book. It was only about this big, and then it was like 150 pages. There's some flavor text in there that he wrote, and there were some seemingly interconnected stories through that. And as we were writing some fiction, and we can maybe blame COVID for giving us more Dragon Dice fiction. So, I mean, one good thing to come out of all this. As I was doing notes for Rise and Fall, and I was making sure that we took everything fiction that was anywhere related to the world of Esfah, related to Dragon Dice in general. We pulled it all together and started kind of organizing it to make sure that we have some sort of a world. I've literally got like 100 pages of just notes, flavor text, things that are floating around, all of the old rules manuals, anything that might be in here. We have that catalog somewhere so that we can draw on that for the fiction. So Joe wrote several pieces, and he was always intending to write both a sequel and a prequel. He wanted Chillwind to be a trilogy. From what I've heard. Now, I've never had a chance to meet Joe, but I feel like I have since pulling out all of that flavor text and then finding out how it fit together. It was pretty clearly supposed to be a tale of two different battles, of two different things happening, telling the story of the grandfather of the main character in this book. So it was the prequel. Well, we never got to see anything in the sequel. We added to this and we put it together and made a cohesive story out of that. It's called Thunderfist and the Dragon. If you've read Chillwind, you've seen some quotes and some discussion about Thunderfist. Thunderfist was the grandfather of the main character in Chillwind. And Thunderfist defeated this dragon and saved Mount Belgavar a couple generations prior to Chillwind. And Chillwind takes place just 1 or 2 generations prior to Ashes. So we are going to see actually a sequel to Chillwind, and essentially we have a prequel now included with Cast of Fate. and then these other books. So that means Cast of Fate has turned from a book of, Rise Fall is a pretty decent book. Ashes is a pretty significant book. Cast of Fate is even more significant. So it's kind of a collection of all of the 90s stuff out of TSR and the addition of the prequel from Chillwind, Thunderfist and the Dragon, leading into the Syrian Songs, which is the name of the Chillwind series. So I thought that it was a really neat way to do an homage to Joe Joyner. So it's officially credited as a story by Joe Joyner and myself. And we are re-releasing Chillwind shortly after Cast of Fate. And we were able to clean up, to revise, to get some high-res stuff for the cover art, to give it that branding that we're going with now. Have a really nice, attractive set of books. It will include a promotional die. It's an alt ink Frostwing, trying to keep that Frostwing motif going. And you might be thinking, well, what about that promo die? Well, we're not going to make the same mistakes of the past. We're not going to drill holes in the books and insert dice, no matter how cool it was. I don't have that kind of money to be throwing around book returns. We're not a huge operation, but we're one that really runs on love and spirit and heart. We are including one of these, however. This is the Dragon Slayer. Might have too much light. This is the gold ink version of the Dragon Slayer. And you will get one of those when you buy Cast of Fate from either SFR or Tree Shaker Books. So you will get that included. So if you pick up the whole set here, you'll not only have a nice stack of reading, you'll have some really fun promo dice to play with and include in your armies as well. So we're trying to update. We're trying to keep the spirit of Dragon Dice alive. A couple of upcoming projects, and I'll probably talk about these a little later on the forums and the Facebook groups, that sort of thing. Yes, there is a re-release of Army of the Dead coming. I said I would talk about this. I was really, really looking forward to this book when I was 17. Says right in the beginning pages here of the original one, coming soon in January 1997 by Ido Van Belkom, Army of the Dead. I played a lot of Undead when they first came out when I was a young kid, and I was like, this is fun. I really love the Undead, the motif, the look of the dice. And then the book just never came, and things disappeared, and I went off to college not really knowing whatever came of it, but looking around occasionally. I mean, the internet was still not nearly as big as it is nowadays. But I was able to find some information later. That's actually how I wound up looking for Army of the Dead, was how I wound up hearing about SFR, buying the rights from Wizards of the Coast, and re-releasing, launching the game, and updating it. That was around the time when they were just bringing out the Tree Folk expansion, which I thought is a very solid expansion. If you haven't picked one of those up yet, if you're maybe an old-time gamer and maybe you've never seen it before, pick that up. It's a great product, and really merges well into the Dragon Dice universe. And most of everything that SFR is doing is spot on. So definitely pick that up. But we will be re-releasing Army of the Dead. It won't be this year. If you have read Army of the Dead, what was left over, there are some spots that need to be smoothed out. It's going to need some pretty heavy revisions. It wasn't really the product that those of us that have been waiting for really wanted to see. We wanted to see something a little more polished. If you find a copy of the old one, it might be worth collecting, but not really reading. I would recommend you wait for the one that's going to be coming out with Tree Shaker Books. We're going to try and do it justice and merge it into the overall canon of Esfah. So anyway, there is one book coming out for sure before that, coming up soon, and we'll talk about that once it comes up. But that, like I said, is going to be the sequel to Chillwind. Joe Joyner mentioned in the back here, the battle for freedom has not ended in Syria. A new threat emerges, and he mentions the children. Corin saw Gerald. Gerald is the main character, so be the child of Geralt, and the son of son named Ral, the son of Thrag. Thrag was the other. He was the Frostwing main character in this book, and that book is going to be called. He did provide a title for that called Eye of the Storm. We will be releasing Eye of the Storm, hopefully in the end of 2020. We're making every effort to make that happen. I'm co-writing that book with another author, and hopefully we're gonna see kind of a groundswell of people really excited to see this particular region of Esfah, the Syrian region, which is kind of the far northeast from where most of the action in the other books takes place. See something come out with that. So I hope you're excited for it. I hope that you will maybe pop on our mailing list, that you'll keep up to date, get yourself that free copy of Rise Fall of the Obsidian Grotto, and definitely keep rolling your dice and enjoy.